coast. The world of sport, finest of the world sports features 52 weeks of the year. Major League Baseball, the Canadian and American Triple Crowns of racing, Canadian track and field events, as well as many other sports of championship caliber. And this afternoon, the greatest show in football, featuring the stars of the National Football League and the game's most thrilling action. Today, the NFL championship game between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers from City Stadium in Green Bay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Hal Kelly, your host for the afternoon. In just a moment, we'll switch to Green Bay. The first half of today's World of Sport, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited, brewers of Carling Black Label Beer. Now let's switch to Green Bay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lindsey Nelson with Chris Schenkel here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The first time that the Pro Championship has ever been played here in Green Bay. And, of course, it's a big day. The temperature is about 20 degrees. The field has been covered all week with a tarp and a layer of hay and about 14 inches of snow on top of that. It's all been peeled off, and the field's been brushed off, and it's fairly fast. There are some frozen spots, and when the team's warmed up, the Green Bay Packers were wearing cleats. The New York Giants were split about 50-50, half in cleats and half in sneakers. This is the first $1 million game in the history of professional football. More than 40,000 fans at $10 a head in the stands, $615,000 for the television fee. And to tell you about this $1 million game, here is Chris Schenkel.
Thank you, Lindsey Nelson, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Two teams, the best in football, the Packers and the Giants, who have a great deal of similarities. Offensively, the Packers are tops in the National Football League, while the Giants finish second. The attacks are somewhat similar. Green Bay relying on a running game, which opens up their passing attack, while the New York Giants have used the forward pass, thrown mostly by Y.A. Tittle to Schaffner, Rote, and Walton, and then in turn, the running game has featured Alec Webster. If you're a devotee or a fan of good line play, and especially the guards that pull and block, watch Fred Thurston, number 63 of the Green Bay Packers, and number 66, Jack Stroud of the New York Giants, because they are the finest. Defensively, the Giants and Packers also compare favorably. Four big men up front. Coaching-wise, both Vince Lombardi and Ali Sherman were once New York Giant assistants. This is the third meeting of these two teams in 1961, and we expect a thriller, so wherever you are, I know you're going to enjoy it. Right now, back to Lindsey Nelson.
On the field, the playing of the national anthem with the Sullivan Wallen Post American Legion Color Guard and the Army Color Guard and the Green Bay Packer Band and the Lake Band Color Guard on the field, along with the Golden Girls and the Packerettes, the Star Spangled Banner, as we're getting set for the National Football League Championship game. And the lights have been turned on here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the very outset of the afternoon. It is cloudy right now. The prediction is that it will remain that way throughout the afternoon. Possible scattered snow flurries. We'll have more of the pregame activities here at Green Bay City Stadium after this message.
And right now, it's our pleasure to once again introduce our guest, Curly Morrison. He used to play in the National Football League, and Curly, you've been in a championship game. You know what it feels like, I guess.
Well, it's a great thrill for these 70 football players who we'll be watching all afternoon, Hal. I can vouch for that.
What's your analysis of today's game?
Well, Hal, I think Chris Schenkel summed it up pretty cleverly there. Both teams are similar. Of course, naturally, they're both championship ball clubs. We know that. Regardless of their characteristics, whether they're a more strong running or passing team, the outcome of the day's game will be determined basically by the fundamental soundness of the winning club. My personal opinion is that Green Bay is probably one of the most fundamentally sound football teams in their techniques of any team I've seen in the National Football League. Going back to their previous games with the Giants this year, which incidentally Green Bay won both of them with a similar score, an exhibition game and a game we saw a few weeks ago, 20-17. There were 140 plays played In the last game, Green Bay had the ball 77 times and New York 63, and on the basis of that ball control, I would have to pick Green Bay.
All right, let's go back to Green Bay.
As all is in readiness, and a good many of the fans still are standing here. They are dressed warmly, of course, for this temperature, and the predominant color is red to indicate that we're in the deer hunting country. Somebody said this morning that the crowd is dressed so that it looks a great deal like a church service on the morning that the deer season opens. Right now, the lanes have been formed, and the New York Giants, the visiting team, champions of the Eastern Conference of the National Football League, will be introduced first. This stadium was first opened in 1957. It replaced the old City Stadium, a structure made primarily of wood that became one of pro football's historic landmarks for many years. The stadium normally seats 38,663, but a couple of thousand temporary seats were added for today's game to run the capacity up to something over 40,000. Tickets were priced at $10 each, no matter where they were located, behind the goalpost or on the 50-yard line. The price $10 each, and they have turned out here this afternoon. And a little twirling color in the pregame festivities. The twirler is Mary Van Dyce from Sturgeon Bay. In recent years, no football field has received as much loving care and attention as this one has in the past few weeks. See, the Packers depend a great deal on a strong running game, and if at all possible, they wanted to prevent the likelihood of a frozen field. So a tarp was spread over the field, then a layer of hay, and then about 14 inches of snow fell on top of that. The temperature got down to 15 below zero a couple of days ago, but the covering kept the field from entirely freezing. The snow was removed in baskets and by hand in order to keep the heavy equipment from tracking the unfrozen turf. The hay was removed this morning and fed into hay balers right here at the stadium. Then the tarp was taken off, and then commercial brushers were brought on attached to jeeps. The field was entirely brushed and was remarked just about 1 hour ago. As is usual in any championship contest, the experts have dissected every available bone of contention in an effort to forecast the outcome. When these two teams met in Milwaukee during the regular season, the Giants were unable to stop the Packers' ground game as Jimmy Taylor gained more yardage than any Packer had ever gained in a single game. He did it primarily in the Giant defensive area, patrolled by Rosie Greer, Andy Robustelli, and linebacker Tom Scott. Well, the Giants, of course, figured to tighten up that gap. The question is, if they do, will they leave a gap open somewhere else? Perhaps the Packers will counter by going to the air. The Giants, of course, have a pretty good ground game themselves, led by Alex Webster and Joel Wells. They have a fine passing attack with Tittle and Connolly throwing, Schaffner, Rote, and Walden catching. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what the extent of Jimmy Taylor's injury is. Against the Los Angeles Rams in the final game of the season, Taylor sustained a kidney injury, and just how serious it is something that won't be known until the ball game gets underway here this afternoon. The officials coming out onto the field right now. The referee this afternoon is George Rennick. He'll be wearing number 52. The umpire is Jim Beersdorfer, number 17. The head linesman is John Heiberger, number 48. The back judge is Frank Luzar, number 14. And the field judge is Charles Sweeney, number 22. And so they are coming out to look over the field, preparatory to the arrival of the players here. And it might be well to point out here, as we are waiting for the arrival of players, that this game is played under a sudden death rule, meaning that if the regulation playing time ends and the score is tied, then after a 3-minute rest, they will resume playing, and the first team that scores by any means, touchdown, field goal, or safety, is the winner. So we will have no tie game here this afternoon. We will have a winner before the day is done. And for each individual member of the winning team, it will mean something over $5,000. For each member of the losing team, it will mean something over $3,000. The prices have gone up since the first championship game was played in 1933, when members of the winning team got $210 each. The men charged with handling the ball most in this cold, cold weather are the quarterbacks, of course. Bart Starr for the Packers, Y.A. Tittle and Chuck Connolly for the Giants. Starr is from Alabama. Tittle's a native of Texas who played in Louisiana. Connolly from Mississippi. All Southern boys in the cold, cold north this afternoon. Since the National Football League started playing championship games in 1933, the home team has lost only 8 times in 27 games. One game was played on a neutral site at the Packers. That's the Boston Redskins in New York on one occasion for the championship. These Green Bay Packers are one of only 2 remaining charter members of the National Football League. The other, the Chicago Bears. So it's a big day here in Green Bay as finally they have the championship game played right here in City Stadium. And you get a look at the crowd now and how they are dressed for the cold weather. All bundled up. The Chamber of Commerce, of course, has called the city Title Town, USA. And there are banners across the streets and signs in every store window. And I can tell you that if the Green Bay Packers win this ball game this afternoon, it will be a New Year's Eve celebration in Green Bay, the likes of which you have seldom seen. Matter of fact, the local citizenry says that if they win, the celebration in Pittsburgh, when the championship was won there, will look like a Sunday school pink tea. Now you're looking outside the ballpark at the parking lots, which incidentally were swept clear of snow also, as well as they could. And you can see the snow across the road there and in the neighborhood. The Green Bay Packers earlier this week worked out one afternoon when the temperature was 10 below zero. So this is something of a heat wave, as the temperature at 12 noon was up to 19 officially, and right now is up to about 20 degrees as we are awaiting the kickoff here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Teams, of course, very likely are adjusting equipment. On the bench, they will have no problem because infrared heaters have been installed in dugout-type reflectors behind the benches, and we are told that along in that area, the temperature will be around 7 degrees in the bench area. You can see them there behind the policemen. There they are, the reflectors and the infrared heaters. And so it may be some difficulty getting a man into the ball game this afternoon. It's going to be very warm and cozy over there in the bench area. Incidentally, as Green Bay prepared for this ball game, they expect traffic that they are not used to handling, and so extra policemen were brought over from Sheboygan and Manitowoc and Neenah and Oshkosh to help handle the traffic, and I should suspect also to see the ball game. Any moment now, we'll have the introduction of players as they have come into the runway. You can see them milling around there in the runway right now, and we'll have them coming down in just a moment as they get them organized and bring them onto the field one by one. It's the New York Giants, of course, as the visiting team in white, and the Green Bay Packers in the dark jerseys as you see them. Giants as the visitors will be introduced first. The offensive unit is being brought down there. 79 is Rosie Brown, 66 is Jack Stroud, 55 is Ray White Tucker, 53 is Greg Larson, 85 is Del Schaffner. They'll be brought out in just a moment. Little handshaking taking place down there in the runway right now also. Those Giants, of course, were surprise winners in the Eastern Conference this season. None of the preseason predictors placed them any higher than third. Most everybody saw the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles or even the St. Louis Cardinals as the top team in the East. But the Giants improved steadily. They came through a second-half schedule as tough as can be imagined. They met the Packers, the Eagles twice, the Browns twice coming down the stretch, and they came out with the division title. And their rookie coach, in his first year as head coach, Al Sherman, was named Coach of the Year in the National Football League. And now, the New York Giants are being introduced. At center, number 55 is Ray White Tucker, 6'1", 230 from Northwestern. The right guard, number 66 is Jack Stroud. He is 6'1", 235 pounds from Tennessee. Number 62 at left guard is Darrell Dest. He is a 245-pounder from North Carolina State. Number 53 at right tackle is Greg Larson. He's a rookie, 6'2", 240 from Minnesota. Number 79 at left tackle is Rosie Brown. He is 255 pounds from Oregon State. Number 80 at right end is Joe Walton, 205-pounder from Pittsburgh. And number 85 is the left end, Bill Schaffner, 185 pounds from Baylor. Number 44 is Kyle Rote, the right halfback, 200-pounder from SMU. Number 29 is the fullback, Alex Webster. He is a 220-pounder from North Carolina State. Number 28 is the left halfback, Joel Wells, 198 pounds from Clemson. And the quarterback is number 14, Y.A. Tittle, 195-pounder from Louisiana State University. Those are the New York Giants. So there go the Giants. And we'll have now the introduction of the hometown Green Bay Packers. The center, number 51, is Jim Ringo, a 235-pounder from Syracuse. Number 75 is the right guard, Forrest Gregg, a 250-pounder from SMU. The left guard is All-Pro Fred Thurston, number 63 from Valparaiso, 250-pounder. Right tackle number 78 is Norm Masters, 250 pounds from Michigan State. The left tackle number 76 is Bob Skarunsky, 250 pounds from Indiana. Number 88 is the right end Ron Kramer, 230-pounder from the University of Michigan. The left end is number 85, Max McGee, 205-pounder from Tulane. The flanker back is number 86, Boyd Dowler, 220-pounder from Colorado and on leave from the Army. The left half is Paul Horning, number 5, 215-pounder from Notre Dame and on leave from the Army. The fullback is Jim Taylor, number 31, 215-pounder from LSU. And the quarterback is Bart Starr, number 15, a 200-pounder from the University of Alabama. There are the Green Bay Packers, repeat champions of the Western Conference. We've had the starting lineups. We'll be set for the opening kickoff of today's game in just a moment.
They're off and running at the county fair, and for every man racing, the afternoon will be packed with excitement. Sitting between those two flashing wheels is a real thrill, a thrill that makes harness racing a sport that sets the pace in pleasure. Yes, there's no question about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
And now we're getting set for the simulated coin toss at the center of the field. As you know, in the National Football League, the coin is actually tossed about 30 minutes before game time. Then the simulated toss takes place now for the information of the crowd. Coming out, Kyle Rote and Andy Robustelli for the Giants, the co-captains, and for the Green Bay Packers, Bill Forrester and Jim Ringo. George Renix is the referee. And the indication here that the New York Giants won the toss and elected to receive. The Green Bay Packers elected to defend the goal to your left, so the Packers will kick off and defend the goal to your left. The Giants will receive and defend the goal to your right. For those of you who like to keep track of such things, the Green Bay Packers lost the toss. They lost the toss last year at Philadelphia. We pause now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
There, ladies and gentlemen, you see the Green Bay Packers today wearing dark green jerseys, gold pants, gold helmets, while the New York Giants are in white, red numerals, blue helmets, and silver football pants. It'll be number 3, Ben Agajanian, the 8-year veteran from New Mexico State that will be kicking off for the Green Bay Packers. Agajanian joining the Packers late here in 1961, taking some of the work off the shoulders of Paul Hornung, who arrived this week from Fort Riley, Kansas, to continue preparations for this big championship game. Field lights are on. The field itself in perfect condition as we have a ground view look at 35 Bobby Gators and 28 Joel Wells, who await Agajanian's kick. The minute that toe hits the football, the clock starts and the game is underway. And here's Agajanian's boot. It's going to the far side. It's fielded there by Joel Wells. He's up to the 20, now the 25, then the 30, and he's brought down there and hard. It appeared that the Giants might try to let that ball go out of bounds, and it caused a little mix-up on the part of the Packer kicking team coming upfield as Ray Nitschke, number 66 of Illinois, made the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Here now are the New York Giants. They have a 1st and 10. The ball is just across their own 30-yard line. Y.A. Tittle, 14-year veteran, his first championship game as the quarterback. Coming to the near side, this is Del Schaffner. Kyle Roach to the opposite side. Joel Wells, number 28, carried the ball, but met with that big forward wall of Green Bay, led by Henry Jordan and Bill Quinlan. There's Wells of Clemson, former star in the Canadian League, as we look at the Green Bay Packers now, who have up front 87 Willie Davis, 83 Quinlan, the ends. Hanner and Jordan are the tackles. The New York Giants now, they have a 2nd down and 9 from their own 31 as Road is to the far side. Webster and Wells, the setbacks. The draw. Webster losing his footing, and right there with him was Tom Bettis, number 65. Alec Webster, number 3 rusher in the National Football League, is down at about the 32-yard line, where it'll now be a 3rd down and 8 for the New York Giants. No score in the ball game. The deep men for the Green Bay Packers on the left in the dark jerseys, Grimminger, Simak, Wood, and Whittenden. Y. Tittle, number 14, who often has come up with a big 3rd down play, has a 3rd and 8 from his own 32. His first pass attempt to Webster. Webster up to the 35 and is down at about the 37. Not enough. For the first down is Dan Curry, number 58 of Michigan State, was there to bring Webster down. So it will be a 4th down for New York. The Eastern Conference champion and the Green Bay Packer fans give the defensive team a round of applause. It's a 4th down and 3. Going back deep now for the Packers, Willie Wood and Luke Carpenter, number 33. Back to kick for the New York Giants on the right, Don Chandler of Florida. Has about a 44-yard average. He's kicking with the wind to his back. End over end. Carpenter blocking as Willie Wood has it at the 23, up to the 25. Wood, number 24, hit by Chuck Jenneret, number 72, and Larry Hayes of Vanderbilt. So now the Packers, before this huge crowd in Green Bay, Wisconsin, have the ball 1st and 10, and George Rennicks, the referee, has spotted it on the Green Bay 26. For the Packers, Bart Starr of Alabama, the quarterback, number 15. The setbacks will be Taylor, 31, and Horning, number 5. Max McGee is flanked to the far side. Boyd Dowler is set away to the near side with Ron Kramer, the tight end. Jim Ringo, the center, from the 26. Slight delay to Paul Horning, number 5. The leading scorer in the National Football League is stopped by Rosie Greer and Jim Catkavage, number 75. There's Horning, number 5, going back to the Green Bay huddle. Number 75, Forrest Gregg, as we now look at the Giant defensive team, number 1 in the National Football League, allowing the fewest points scored in the 3rd meeting. And they know about the Green Bay Packers. Now with the ball at the 28. No score in the game. It's a 2nd down and 8 for Green Bay with Dowler to the near side and McGee to the far side. Horning again. And that ground game of Green Bay is moving upfield as Tom Scott, 82, Dick Modulewski, 77, for another play for New York. Horning, who's carrying the ball both times, has advanced it now up to about the 34, a 6-yard gain. It's 3rd down and 2. The Giants 75, Cat Cabbage 89, Livingston 49, Erich Barnes. The opposite side cornerback is Dick Lynch, number 22. Here you see star 15, Ringo 51, 31 is Jim Taylor, number 70 in white is Sam Huff with a 3rd down and 2 from their own 34, Bart Starr. And doing yeoman duty is Paul Horning of Notre Dame, and Cat Cabbage, 75 and 70 Huff, are in on the tackle. And the Packers did not make enough for the 1st down as Erich Barnes also helped stop Horning's forward progress. So with the ball at the 35, it is a 4th down and 1 for Green Bay. There you see 40, Joe Morrison going deep. And on the near side, Joel Wells, number 28. Boyd Dowler is back to punt for Green Bay. The first Green Bay punt, no score in the game. 10 minutes, 45 seconds left in the 1st quarter. A booming punt into the wind as Wells has it on the 10. Wow, what a punt as Elijah Pitts stopped number 28. The receiver, Joel Wells, as a marker, is down. George Rennick's number 52. That's Dick Lynch, number 22. And let's see what the penalty will be. Looks like perhaps a procedure penalty against the Green Bay Packers as Rennick's now comes back to the line of scrimmage, which was the 35. He's in the vicinity now of the 30. And here he is with a procedure signal against Green Bay and, of course, accepted by the New York Giants. So it will be a 4th down coming up, 4th down and 6 from about the 30-yard line. Dowler's punt was a honey. It came all the way from his own 26 to the Giant 10. There's Dowler on the left, kicking into about a 12-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the southwest. Now again, he gets off a good one. This one about 15 yards shorter at the 24. Morrison has it and is down at the 30. And again, it's Elijah Pitts, that speedster, the rookie, number 22 in the dark jersey that was in on the tackle. So the New York Giants get the ball for the 2nd time here in the 1st quarter with about 10 minutes to go and no score. And they have a 1st and 10 just across the 30-yard line, and that's where they tried to start a drive the first time they had the ball. Schaffner, number 85, coming to the near side. At the top of your screen, 44, Kyle Rote. The setbacks are Wells and Webster. From the 30, Y. Tittle. Joe Wells on a fine balanced run up the middle. Advances to about the 39. Wells has come along late in the 1961 season. He was stopped on his forward progress by Tom Bettis, the middle linebacker for the Packers. The ball is at 39. It is a 2nd down and 1 as Wells picked up 9 yards on the play. Rote and Joe Walton are to the far side, Schaffner to the near side. That's Wells up close to the line, the halfback. As the fullback carries, going for the 1st down, let's see if he made it. The Packers ball hawking, trying to steal the ball. As Ray Whitehecker was blocking on the play, George Rennick now calls for an official time for a measurement. So the head linesman, John Heiberger, and his crew will come in from the far side of the field to measure. The ball is across the 40, as you see, between the 40 and 41. No score, 9 minutes left in the 1st quarter. 1st down, New York. The initial 1st down of the ball game. Up front for the Giants from top to bottom across the tee, Greg Larson, Jack Stroud, Ray Whitehecker, Darrell Dess and Roosevelt Brown, Schaffner and Walton the ends, Rote the flanker back, Webster and Wells the setbacks, with Tittle at quarterback. Packers on the left, dark jerseys, Davis, Hanner, Jordan, and Quinlan up front. Rote goes to the far side. 1st and 10 for the Giants. Let's call it from their own 41. The fake to Webster, who blocks, and the pass is a square-out pattern to Kyle Rote, who couldn't hang on to the ball. Dan Curry covering for Green Bay. There's Kyle. He's wearing a sweatshirt under his jersey, sort of blue in color to keep those arms warm, and he couldn't hang on to that pass, so it's an incompletion, 2nd down and 10. The Ball near the 41. No score. 8 minutes, 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Some of the linemen wearing gloves keep those hands warm out on the field. Others not. The ends, of course, are bare hands out there. 2nd and 10. Schaffner to the near side. Joel Wells of Clemson carrying on the play. 74, Henry Jordan. Coming in, number 74. On Wells, 28 as a marker is down, and you may have seen the infraction right on your television screen at home. It is an offside against the Green Bay Packers. So that advances the ball to the 46. So now it'll be a 2nd down and 5 for the New York Giants. No scores. Rote goes to the far side. Schaffner up in the line, split away to the near side. Walton is the tight end. 2nd and 5 from their own 46. A loose ball. Webster recovered, it appeared, his own fumble. 79 in white, Roosevelt Brown. 83 Quinlan. 71 Forrester, who was there alertly on the play. And the fumble allowed the Giants to pick up 2 yards up to the 48. It'll be a 3rd down and 3 for New York. Both teams thus far playing cautious, steady football, sticking mostly to the ground. Tittle has attempted one forward pass. Rote now to the far side. Tittle of LSU, number 14. 3rd and 3 from his own 48. There's the pass. Rote has it. Rote is in Green Bay territory as Henry Greminger, number 46 of Baylor, made the tackle, and the Giants have their second first down of the ball game with 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter. There is no score here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The ball has been spotted by the referee at about the Green Bay 46 1/2. Giants started this drive at their own 30. Schaffner now coming to the near side. Rote to the opposite side once more. And Tittle wants some aerial yardage. Out here is Schaffner, who lost his footing, and the pass was underthrown. Whittington and Wood covered number 85, Del Schaffner. One of the trades that Wellington Mayor of the New York Giants made this year that has helped New York to the Eastern Conference crown, the number 3 pass catcher in the league, who caught 68 going into this ball game, including 11 touchdowns. So it'll be now a 2nd down and 10 for New York from the Green Bay 46. No score. Rote and Walton to the far side. Again, Schaffner, the usual pattern to the near side, split away about 10 yards. Wells up close on the setback as Webster carries. There you saw the hard charge of the defensive team of Green Bay, leveling the Giants' would-be blockers, Waiteka and Schaffner. Jordan and Bettis credited for stopping no gain by the Giants. So it'll be a 3rd down and 10 coming up in thus far a great defensive battle. 71 Forrester, the outside linebacker. 83 Quinlan. 74 Jordan. 79 Hanner. 87 Davis, and 58 is Dan Curry. Here are the Giants, 3rd and 10 from the Green Bay 46. There's a long pass. Kyle Rote is there, looking back into the sun, which is a little on the hazy side today. Kyle had run a beautiful pass pattern and couldn't hold on to the ball. Rote, the All-American from SMU and co-captain of the New York Giants, and for New York now, it is a 4th down and 10, and Don Chandler has come into the ball game for New York as Willie Wood and Lou Carpenter go back in twin safety. Chandler has been known to not kick the ball and run with it. The line of scrimmage is the Green Bay 46-yard line. Chandler is back at about his own 43 to kick. It's high. Lou Carpenter watches the ball. Going into the end zone, it'll be a touchback. It'll come out to the Green Bay 20-yard line.
Keep an eye on that offense and see again if we can determine what the extent of Jim Taylor's injury is. It was interesting in the first series they ran Horning 3 times and didn't use Taylor even on the 3rd and 2. So now the Packers have it once again, and let's see what they choose to do this time.
Okay, Lindsey Nelson, here are the Packers on the left in the dark jersey. Bart Starr, Taylor, and Horning the setbacks. Dowler, McGee, and Kramer potential receivers. As we look at Starr, number 15, from his own 20-yard line. No score in the game. And again, it is Paul Horning that carries the ball. Dick Modulewski, number 77, and Greer in on the play for New York. And Horning just turns out the yardage as he has advanced the ball up to his own 24. A 4-yard gain at second down and 6. Up front for the Packers. From top to bottom, Skowronski and Thurston. Jim Ringo at center. Forrest Gregg and Norm Masters, the guard and tackle on the near side, with Ron Kramer, the tight end, McGee, the split end, and Dowler, the flanker back. McGee to the far side, Dowler the near side. The tight end, Kramer, number 88, on a second down and 6 from their own 24. Nice faking by Starr. A deep pass patterned by McGee. Dick Lynch, number 22 of Notre Dame, was covering on the play, and again, it could have been that sunshine that's coming in from right to left, as McGee was halfway looking into it and awaiting Bart Starr's long pass. McGee, the Packers' number 1 pass receiver this year, catching 51 and scoring 7 touchdowns. So Starr now is faced with a 3rd down and 6 from his own 24. Lynch, who covered on the play, is the most recent bridegroom, having been married Thursday night in Pennsylvania. Up looking on, number 70. 3rd and 6 for Starr, number 15. To Paul Horning. And Green Bay has its initial first down of the ball game, and you can see why Paul Horning was named Player of the Year just about everywhere. There's timeout on the field with the score. Green Bay nothing and New York nothing.
Yeah.
Well, Curly, first off, they haven't been using Jim Taylor on the Green Bay half line. What do you think?
Well, it's pretty hard, Hal, to determine right now how serious that injury is. However, I think the fact that he's in there means that he can play some football, or they wouldn't take a chance with him. And I think after he gets warmed up a little bit, loosened up, we'll see Jim Taylor carrying the football.
And the big play of the game, the first one, was to the Green Bay.
We just saw it. We just saw the first really big play. And now it takes a little while. These fellows have to establish themselves and feel each other out a little bit, because this is the last game of the season, and they don't want to make that big mistake. So we'll see them begin to open up gradually.
Looks, too, like it's a little hard to hold on to that ball when it passes.
Well, it's true because of the extremely cold temperature. The fingers are a little stiff, but the biggest thing, I think, the factor here is the sun. You see, with so much snow as a reflection around there, and it's probably a blue sky day in Green Bay, you'll have to wait till that sun settles down. If you're looking into it, it's a hard glare, and it's hard to keep your eyes on it.
All right, let's go back to Green Bay.
World Championship of Football in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Chris Schenkel and Lindsey Nelson, as we're in the first period, 4 minutes and 47 seconds left. Paul Horning and Bart Starr combining on a 26-yard pass play, picking up the Packers' initial first down. Green Bay is at midfield with the first down, and Starr sends McGee to the far side. McGee is actually in the backfield as Dowler comes up on the line, split to the near side. Taylor 31, but the give is to Horning. And Horning, the workhorse, is tackled by Roosevelt. Greer on the play. Paul Horning, everybody's All-America and Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame, was everybody's choice for Player of the Year in the National Football League, having led the NFL in scoring for the 3rd straight year, 146 points. Now, with his fine pass catching and running, he has advanced the Packers to the New York Giants 45-yard line with a 2nd and 5. There's Starr. Dowler to the near side. And Taylor carries. Cliff Livingston, number 89, in on the tackle, as Jim Taylor, who is being used sparingly here in the first quarter, has advanced to the Giant 41. And for Green Bay, it's a 3rd down and 1 coming up. 3rd and 1, as the Packers have reached the deepest penetration at the Giant 41 and a half. There you see Ron Kramer, number 88, who plays the tight blocking end, as the Giant defensive unit, basically a 4-3 defense. Dowler to the near side, McGee to the opposite Jim Taylor does the job for the Packers, and it's the first down as E-Ridge Barnes makes the stop. Taylor on the key pass play that helped get the Packers to midfield was used as a decoy, was not blocking for the passer Bart Starr. So Green Bay now with a 1st and 10 at the New York Giants 37. No score. Little less than 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Star of Alabama. And that powerful running attack of Green Bay has put the Packers inside the Giants 35 at about the 32. Huff and Greer tackling Jim Taylor on the play. They have moved down now to the Giants 32. It is 2nd down and 5. As the sun really comes from behind those hazy clouds here in Wisconsin. 20-degree temperatures. Now it's Kramer and McGee to the far side, and Dowler is all alone to the near side. At the Giant 32, Bart Starr has a 2nd down and 5. Ladies and gentlemen, that blocking up front by Thurston and Skoransky is a thing to behold. And they are riddling the Giants defensive unit with the running attack cross-bucking now to the Giants 25. And, of course, it's enough for the first down. Paul Hornung starring here in the first quarter with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go in the quarter. No score. Bart Starr keeps both ends in close to the tackles. It's Dowler flanked to the near side. 1st and 10 from the Giants, 25. Jim Taylor. And there the blocking was done by Norm Masters, number 78, and Ron Kramer, number 88, as Huff makes the tackle on 31. Taylor picks up 5 yards on the play to the Giant 20, where it is now 2nd down and 5 for Green Bay, starting this march on their own 20. Sticking to the ground, except on a 26-yard pass play to Hornung, which brought them to midfield. As we look at Huff, 70. 77, Dick Modulewski of Maryland. There's Big Roosevelt Greer, number 76. We have 50 seconds left in the first quarter now. No score. Green Bay with a 2nd down and 5 at the Giant 20. Two men going deep. Marker is down. Interference. An automatic first down on pass-catching interference. Boyd Dowler, the intended receiver, and E-Ridge Barnes was a little aggressive in trying to knock down the pass. And with 35 seconds remaining in the first quarter here at Green Bay, it is a 1st and goal to go for Green Bay at the New York Giants 7-yard line. No score. All right, Bart Starr now asks for silence for this partisan crowd as the ends are in close. Down to the near side. Hornung and Taylor step back. That is Jim Taylor of LSU. And has averaged over 5 yards a carry this year with Lynch, 22. In on the play for New York, along with number 70, Sam Huff and Scott, 82. There was very little advance on the play, so it'll be 2nd down and goal in the vicinity of the Giants 7-yard line, and we have less than 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Green Bay Packers moving into the wind now. First quarter just about over. The gun has sounded. That's the end of the first quarter. And the score is Green Bay nothing and New York nothing.
As you like it, yes, sirree. As you like it, so do we. The happiest our good friends agree is Mabel. Just about everybody far and near takes the friendly call you hear. The most refreshing note of cheer is Mabel, how the good word gets around. Now most everyone has found it's the most inviting sound of all. Mabel, as you like it, yes sirree. The best of all good friends agree as they whistle cheerfully. Mabel, Carlene, Black Label Beer.
You're looking at a stadium built for football only. In the cradle city of the National Football League, Green Bay, as the Green Bay Packers on the right, now moving from right to left as we await the start of the second quarter. No score in the ball game. The Packers have a second down and goal to go from the New York Giants 7. This drive starting on the 20, using up 11 plays to get to this point. Primarily a running game, which we all expected, and the Packers have the best as we look at 5 Horning, 31 Taylor. Dollar and McGee are set apart on a second and goal from the 7. Cross-backing ball, Horning. In one of the prettiest power marches, featuring a sound running game, the Green Bay Packers have just gone 80 yards in 12 plays to take the lead 6-0. And Horning now will try for the point after with Bart Starr holding. And you saw that it was good. So it's a 7-0 ball game with 14 minutes and 56 seconds left in the first half here at City Stadium in Green Bay.
Well, Chris, when these two teams met in Milwaukee earlier this year during the regular season, and the Green Bay Packers won by a score of 20-17, it was their ground game primarily that moved them in there, and the New York Giant defense had been determined to stop that ground game this afternoon. They didn't stop it in that particular effort because the Packers took over after the touchback on their own 20, and as you said, they drove 80 yards with Paul Horning taking it in from the 7 on the first play of the second quarter as they go out in front. Just to keep the record straight, both teams started today entirely wearing cleated shoes, no sneakers on the field at the start of today's ball game. The sun came out just at kickoff time, breaking through the clouds. Temperature 20 degrees at kickoff here at Green Bay, Wisconsin. So right now, we're going to have the Packers kicking off and the Giants receiving to see if they can move the ball. And once again, here's Chris Schenkel.
Okay, Lindsey Nelson, Ben Agajanian, number 3. That is Dan Curry alongside. Agajanian waiting now for the official to tell him that tee up the ball on his own 40-yard line, back deep for the New York Giants. We have Joel Wells and Bobby Gator. They are the deep men, as Ben Agajanian has the wind to his back, and the Packers have a 7-0 lead with only 4 seconds having elapsed in the second quarter. Here's the kick. It's short. It's Wells at the 17, up to the 20, slipping at the 25-yard line. Elijah Pitts, number 22, was scrambling back, thinking the ball might have been loose, as Nelson Buren was in on the play for the Packers. So the New York Giants now have the ball for the 3rd time in the ball game. 1st and 10 from their, let's call it the 25, it's just across the 25, as Wells and Webster, 28 and 29 of the setback. Schaffner to the far side. Rote to the near side. Tittle is the quarterback. The fake to Webster and the pass to Rote. The pinpoint accuracy on that play was not there, as Bill Forrester rushed Tittle and Henry Grimminger covered the potential receiver Kyle Rote. So it'll be a 2nd down and 10 for the Giants from their own 25. They were able to sustain one attack, moving from their own 30 to the Green Bay 46, and then were forced to punt. Tough Packers as the draw play goes to Alec Webster, who is across the 30-yard line. Dave Hanner, 79 in on the play, along with the deep man from Southern California, Willie Wood. Alec Webster, the 29, number 3 rusher in the NFL, comes back to the huddle as Y. Tittle now. All signals the Giants have advanced the ball to the 30, and it's a 3rd down and 5 with Green Bay leading 7-0. 13 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first half. 66 for Green Bay is Nitsky in at linebacker now. As Tittle goes back to throw. It is deflected and intercepted. And you see number 66, and to show you how big and fast the linebackers are in the National Football League, you will recall he was right up head-on the offensive center, but when the pass was thrown and deflected, he was back 15 yards to intercept. There's a big break now for the Green Bay Packers as Henry Jordan tipped that forward pass thrown by Tittle. And now for the Packers, they have the ball on the New York Giants 34 with a 1st and 10 after that interception by Ray Nitsky, one of the 3 Army men playing out here today. Bart Starr and Horning on the option. Look out. Max McGee is out there. He was covered on the play by Dick Lynch, number 22. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10 as Max McGee, number 85, comes back to the Green Bay Packer huddle. He's from Tulane University. Captain of the South team in the 56 Senior Bowl. Now lives in Fort Worth, Texas. From Sexton City, Nevada. 2nd down and 10 now. Green Bay with a 7-0 lead and 13 minutes left in the first half. Have the ball at the New York Giants 34 with Dowler flanked to the far side. There you see Ringo, 51. Here is Starr throwing long. McGee again. McGee had gotten free from the man that covered him, Jim Patton of Mississippi. But the pass was a little long, and it'll be a 3rd down and 10 as Bart Starr has been mixing up his plays, driving 80 yards in 12 plays to score, and now has come back after an interception by Ray Nitsky of a Tittle pass, going to the air, trying to get there for 6 more. The Giants, 81, Andy Robustelli, 82, Tom Scott of Virginia. 76 is Greer, 70 Huff, 77 Modulewski, 75 Katkavage, 89 Cliff Livingston. Off to the far side now is Dowler. 3rd and 10 for the Packers from the Giants 34. McGee to the near side. Bart Starr, a quick pass. Look in to Ron Kramer. And it took 3 Giants, Patton, Huff, and Morrison, to bring Kramer down. The big man from Michigan. 6'3", 230 pounds, number 88 in the dark jersey. There he is back in the huddle. Dowler, 86. And the Packers now are inside the Giant 20. Let's call it the Giant 18 after that 16-yard play, and it's a 1st down for Green Bay. Their 5th first down of the ball game as Starr calls signals. 12 minutes left in the first half. Green Bay 7, New York nothing. Jim Taylor. And they battle for that ball. Taylor and Jim Katkavage mixing it up a little bit. Modulewski at the bottom of that pileup, the left tackle for the New York Giants. And the carry advances the ball 1 yard to the Giants 17, where it'll now be 2nd down and 9 for Green Bay. Starr of Montgomery, Alabama, 6'1", 200 pounds. From our end zone camera, this is Starr 15. There is Huff, number 70, head on. Jim Ringo, the offensive center, on a 2nd and 9 from the Giants 17. Jim Taylor getting inside the New York 15 with Greer, Scott, and Robustelli making the play for New York. Taylor corseted up today to protect that back on the right side. Has just brought the Packers inside the Giants 15. Let's call it the 13 for a 4-yard gain. It is 3rd down and 5 with 11 minutes remaining in the first half. The Packers lead 7-0. Horning scoring on a 7-yard slant. Dowler, 86 to the far side. McGee to the near side. Kramer is put away. 3rd and 5, a pass play, and it's touchdown, Green Bay. moving the needle to Boyd Dowler of Colorado, number 86. And the Packers have taken a 13-0 lead with a little less than 11 minutes remaining in the first half, and Horning can make it 14 with Starr holding. The kick is up. Good. There's time out on the field with the score. Green Bay 14 and New York nothing.
Formula Junior, newest and one of the most exciting forms of automobile racing. Flashing around a track at breathtaking speed in one of these specially built single-seaters is a thrill a minute. A thrill that takes skill, experience, nerve. Why does a man go for a sport like this? Only one reason. Because it sets the pace in pleasure. Yes, there's no question about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
Seconds left in the first half. Deep, Wells, and Gators. Watch those Packers move now. Down covering that kick as it's Wells at the 10, moving to the 15, now the 20, then the 25, up to the 30. A good return up to about the 33-yard line as Nitsky, 66, and Lou Carpenter in on the play.
Chris, we might mention right here that the Green Bay Packers can thank the United States Army for their cooperation in that last touchdown, because the interception was made by Nitschke. The touchdown was scored by Dowler, both on leave from Fort Lewis, Washington.
And Lindsey Nelson, their first touchdown, scored by Paul Horning on leave from Fort Riley, Kansas. Here are the New York Giants now with Tittle at the controls. First and 10 from their own 33. The Giants trailing by 14 points as Tittle is being rushed by Davis. Throws. Joel Wells, the intended receiver, but Willie Davis had gotten into the Giants secondary and had really lowered the boom on Tittle. As we look at Stroud, 66, Larson, 53, 80 Walton, 28 Wells, 55 Ray Waiteka, and 79 Roosevelt Brown. So the Giants, who have been unable to get things going beyond the Green Bay 46, now have a second down and 10 at about their own 33. Green Bay 14, New York nothing. 10 minutes left in the first half. This is Tittle now. Out is Schaffner. The pass was intended for Joe Walton coming down the middle. Incomplete. Y.A. Tittle, who helped immensely in the Giants' drive to the Eastern Conference crown, unofficially now has tried 9 passes, completing only 2, which is far below his 57% completion average in the 61 season. 14-0, Green Bay leading. Willie Davis, there you see Nitsky, 66, as the New York Giants now have the ball. Second down and 10 from their own 33. Tittle is back, throwing to Kyle Rote. It's intercepted by Grimminger. Henry Grimminger intercepts for the Green Bay Packers. And in less than 2 minutes, the Packers have intercepted the Giants twice. A pass intended for Kyle Rote as Grimminger, 46, comes to the sideline. The Packers scored the last time they intercept, going 34 yards in 6 plays. Started Dowler. They lead 14-0. With 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half, here are the Packers first and 10 at about the New York Giants. 36. Dowler to the far side. And those wonderful moves of Jimmy Taylor at the last moment when making contact with a would-be tackler. just spins away and gets more yardage as Lynch and Scott made the tackle. Taylor goes to the New York Giant 32 for a 4-yard gain. It's second down and 6. 9 minutes left in the first half. Green Bay 14, New York nothing. The tackles, Masters and Skowronski, 78 and 76. As we have Dowler to the far side, McGee to the near side now. The ball at the Giant 32. And Honig inside the Giant 30, and Sam Huff makes the tackle along with Roosevelt Greer. Harding moving the Packers to the Giants 27, so it'll be third down and 1 yard. 3rd and 1. In their last drive on a 3rd and 10 play, it was Starr that made 16 yards on a pass play to get them deeper and eventually the touchdown as Dowler goes to the far side, 3rd and 1 from the Giants 27. And Taylor drives for the first down on the ground. Let's see if he made it. Huff and Morrison in on the play. Horace Gregg, number 75 of SMU, blocking on that play. Let's see where George Rennick has spotted the ball. As again, John Heiberger comes in to measure. Ball is just shy of the 25-yard line, and here's the measurement, and Green Bay has a first down. Green Bay mixing up their attack, going more to the pass than usual, but still sticking with a basic, determined ground game, have a 14-0 lead over the New York Giants with 7 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first half. Hornung and Taylor have been the setbacks all the way here in the first half. Dowler the flanker back, Kramer and McGee the ends. Jim Ringo of Syracuse the offensive center. 1st and 10 now, Green Bay from the Giants 25. The pitch to Taylor. And Fred Thurston blocking beautifully again for Taylor. And Masters in on the play, blocking too. As Taylor now is at about the New York Giant 21 as Lynch forced him out. It'll be a second down and 6 for the Green Bay Packers. We talked about Fred Thurston as an all-pro selection, received more votes than any offensive man in the National Football League. He's from Valparaiso. 6'1", 255, and plays the near side guard position. 2nd and 6 now for Green Bay from about the New York Giant 21. The delay to Hornick. And you can see just how tough it is to bring him down. This was Forrest Gregg who blocked on that running play. And Horning is down near the Giant 16-yard line. And Modulewski and Huff. Vince Lombardi, the head coach in his 3rd year at Green Bay, was greatly worried that Horning, number 5, would not have his usual timing for today's championship game. So he certainly will always have that determination that has made him the All-American and All-Pro that he is. Paul Horning, who scored the first touchdown, climaxing an 80-yard drive, is at the halfback spot on the right side now as the Green Bay Packers have a 3rd down and 2 at the New York Giants 17. This is Horning again. And Horning is to the 15 and maybe enough for the first down. 82 Scott, Morrison 40. Blocking on that play, the left guard, Thurston. First down, Green Bay. Packers getting their 7th first down. The Giants unofficially have only 2 thus far in the first half with 6 minutes to go. And Green Bay leads 14-0. Now, with a 1st and 10 from the New York Giants 15. Starting the drive at the Giant 36 after an interception by Henry Greminger. Bart Starr, number 15, sends $86 to the far side, and McGee as the flanker back to the near side with Horning up close. It is Taylor that carries. Robustelli and Scott, the linebacker and defensive end on the near side for the Giants, and Greer, the right tackle. in on the play. But Taylor is to the 14-yard line, a pickup of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 9. 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. Packers scoring. Horning driving 7 yards. With his point after, the Packers have came back after a Nitschke interception to go 34 yards in 6 plays. Starr to Dowler, 13 yards, and now the Packers with a 2nd down and 9 are at the Giant 14. There's a pass to Ron Kramer. Touchdown. Ron Kramer of Michigan climaxing a 36-yard march after an interception, and the Packers are resourceful and alert, taking advantage of 2 interceptions to score touchdowns. Horning's point after is good. Timeout on the field with the score, Green Bay 21 and New York nothing.
Well, Curly, when the Green Bay Packers scored that 3rd touchdown, somebody in here in the studio said maybe instead of trying to finish it, the Giants should negotiate a truce.
No, it's not over with yet. The Packers have gotten the jump, but it'll still be a good ball game before we're finished.
The Packers have had the ball all afternoon.
Well, I think that's the key. As I mentioned before at the outset of today's game, ball control is the most important thing in a game like this, and I sort of figured that Green Bay would be able to do it, and I think they proved it the second march that they made, climaxing the score at the beginning of the second quarter where they went 80 yards in 12 plays, Hal, and that's been the story to date. They've been able to keep the ball.
Of course, those couple of interceptions didn't hurt either.
That's right.
All right, let's go back and have another look at it. City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I'm going to go in.
The first half of today's World of Sport, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited. Brewers of Carling Black Label Beer.
The World Championship of Football in Green Bay as the Packers have a 21-0 lead over the New York Giants with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. Agajanian will kick to either Wells or Gators of New York. It's low and to the near side with Wells at the 15, the 20, the 25, make it the 30, the 35, and down at about the 39-yard line on a nifty return as Nitschke, 66, was in on the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers proving that against the great teams in the NFL, you cannot commit errors or make mistakes because the Packers have gone ahead after intercepting 2 passes to score 2 touchdowns. And now, at quarterback, it's the 14-year veteran from Mississippi, Charlie Connerly, for New York, with a 1st and 10 at about his own 39-yard line. Connerly back to throw, being pressured. The pass is deflected. Dave Henner, number 79, was the man that was in on Connerly, and that is the second time that a Giant quarterback's forward has been deflected by a big lineman. There's Connerly, who came into this ball game having thrown a total of 173 touchdown passes in his career, who now has a 2nd down and 10 with the ball at his own 39. 21-0, the Green Bay Packers, favorites in the ball game, leading by 4 minutes and 22 seconds to go. The score 21-0 as Connerly on the draw to Webster. Blocking Ray Whiteteca, number 55 and 79 in white. Roosevelt Brown is Quinlan, 83. And Willie Wood in on the tackle for the Green Bay Packers.
High-top sneakers. He's the only man on the field now wearing sneakers, high white sneakers, and he's easy to pick out by his foot gear down there.
Lindsey Nelson, he was the man that wore those sneakers in the title game in 1956 on an icy field against the Chicago Bears. Connerly, who in 3 games this year came off the bench to spark the Giants, now has a 3rd down and about 3 from the 45-yard line. 3rd and 3. The blocking is good. The pass is long to Walton. Walton is out there, but there was a near interception by Willie Wood, number 24. Let's see if a marker was down on the play at the line of scrimmage. Joe Walton, who this year has not been used as a long receiver, has a penalty now, offside, against the Green Bay Packers, and that's all the Giants needed. They got a first down by penalty with the ball now at midfield. Phil King is now in the New York Giant lineup as Alex Webster limps to the far sideline. King of Vanderbilt in his 4th year. Number 24 in the backfield with King will be number 28, Joel Wells, who started the ball game. Schaffner to the far side. Rote is somewhat of a tight end, 44. You see him there on the near side. Nice faking by Connerly. A swing pass to Joel Wells, incomplete. The Packer defensive unit, you see Forrester 71 and Wells 28, really pressuring the offensive linemen and the quarterback and keeping them off balance, playing havoc with the timing that they need, sort of being the spear points of any offensive attack. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half. And if you just joined us, you might be amazed that the Green Bay Packers have a 21-0 lead over the New York Giants. Big halftime show, including some twisting in the cold in Wisconsin. Now it's Walton comes to the far side, and Rote is a slot back as Connerly wants to throw. Out there is Kyle Rote. Kyle has the ball, and the Giants have a first down at the Green Bay Packer 15. John Simak covering on the play as Kyle Rote makes a fine catch from Charlie Connerly, and the Giants have their deepest penetration at the Green Bay 15. Their offensive formation that time was different than anything they'd used this year, with Rote as a slot back, Walton a near side split end. There's timeout on the field with the score Green Bay 21 and New York nothing.
Here's a pace-setting sport for pace-setting men. A special kind of racing in a boat that's built to take it. Streaking across the water, then suddenly hurtling through the air, makes this kind of speedboat racing a sport that sets the pace in pleasure. Yes, there's no doubt about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
Carling Red Cap Ale.
The 29th National Football League World Championship game in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. Green Bay 21, New York nothing. The Giants on a 35-yard pass play now have a 1st and 10 on the Green Bay 15. Wells and King are the setbacks. Rote is again in the slot. The give is to King. King powers inside the Green Bay 10 as Nitschke, 66, Quinlan, 83. Quinlan of Michigan State. In on the tackle as Roosevelt Brown blocked beautifully for number 24 in white, Phil King, former captain of Vanderbilt. Giants now have advanced the ball to the Green Bay 8. 7-yard gain. It's 2nd down and 3 for New York. 2 minutes, 15 seconds with the clock running to go in the first half as Webster, 29, is back in at fullback, replacing King. Schaffner to the far side. Milton, Walton are tight. Webster hit high by Nitschke, number 66 of Illinois, and 58, Dan Curry. Webster gets to the 6. It'll be a 3rd down coming up. 3rd down and maybe a little less than 2 yards, about a yard and a half. There you see the Packers, 87 Davis. Up front for the Packers, Quinlan, Jordan, Hanner, Davis. Linebackers, Forrester, Nitschke, and Curry. Greminger, Symank, Wood, and Whittington have been powerfully effective here in the first half, shutting out thus far the New York Giants with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Green Bay scoring 3 touchdowns, one by Hornung, one by Dowler, and one by Ron Kramer. The Giants now have a third down, a little more than a yard, from the Green Bay 6-yard line. Wells and Webster the setbacks. Rote is a flanker back to the near side. And they did not get yardage on the play, so it'll be a 4th down coming up. Joel Wells hit by Davis, 87, 83 Quinlan, and 58 Curry. The Green Bay Packers, who won the Western Conference after 12 games of a 14-game schedule, are right at their peak. No gain on the play. It is 4th down as Bobby Gators, number 35, is in at halfback. He is the rookie from New Mexico State. He is the boy that runs fast, who can also throw the option pass. Rote to the near side on a 4th down and 1. The Giants going for it. They give us to Gators. Gators, they want to throw to Kyle Rote. Kyle Rote was wide open, but the pass was high. Bobby Gators, who threw only 3 passes this year, completing 3 for 2 touchdowns, is incomplete, and the Green Bay Packers take over on down. 1st and 10. About 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining as the ball comes out to the Green Bay 20. We have Hornung in the backfield. And now number 25 is in, Tom Moore replacing Jim Taylor, and Moore is somewhat of a slot back as Hornung carries. The blocking is tremendous, and Hornung runs to his own 37. Jim Patton makes the tackle for New York, number 20, along with Barnes, 49. There's Hornung, and he has just picked up more running yardage as the Giant is injured on the play here in Green Bay. 1 minute to go here in the first half, with Green Bay holding a 21-0 margin over the New York Giants. For Green Bay, after that advance, which has carried them up to about their own 37, a 17-yard advance, they will, when play is resumed, have another 1st and 10 as Patton was shaken up on the play. Bart Starr calling a tremendously effective game, as used running primarily, has tried only 8 passes, completing 4, 2 for touchdowns, and delighting this capacity crowd that you see, the Packer fans, Packer backers, while the New York Giants, going to the air 15 times unofficially, have completed only 3 passes and picking up 3 first downs compared to the Packers' 8. 21-0 as you see the field that has gotten the greatest care, general care of any field, I'm sure, in football in America, and just being perfect for the World's Championship of Football. I mentioned earlier that the field lights had been turned on, which is a league rule, just as our ruling is that should the game be tied at the end of regulation play, there'll be a sudden death. I doubt if we'll need those lights because it's primarily clear sky, the sun peeking from behind some of the fleecy white clouds here as the Packer fans dressed very warmly. The parking lots cleared of lots and lots of snow as the city officials in this Bay City must be congratulated for the great work they have done. Patton now is helped off the field by Johnny Johnston and Johnny Ziegel, along with Sid Moret, the trainers of the New York Giants, and he will be replaced in the secondary by Alan Webb, a rookie from Arnold College. Patton, the man that polled more votes for All-Pro selection than any defensive man in the NFL, is on the sideline. Here are the Packers 1st and 10 from their own 37. Bart Starr, the quarterback. And Hornung again. It's practically unanimous in getting the calls out here today. Tom Scott making the tackle, but not before Hornung had crossed his own 40-yard line and advanced to the 44 for a 7-yard gain. It is 2nd down and 3. In the first meeting between, or the second meeting between these two clubs in 1961 in Milwaukee, it was Jim Taylor who churned out 186 yards, helped immensely by the blocking of Paul Hornung. Now today, with Taylor hampered by a back injury, a kidney injury, it is Paul Hornung that is carrying the brunt of the battle for the Green Bay Packers, who last year won the Western Conference crown and then were defeated by the Philadelphia Eagles for the world title. With the ball now on the 44, the Green Bay Packers in the dark jerseys have a second down and 3. 50 seconds unofficially left in the first half of play. Dowler to the far side, McGee to the near side. Starr on the long count. Gives to Tom Moore, number 25 of Vanderbilt. And Moore was held up high by number 75, Jim Catkavage of Dayton in his 6th year, along with Dick Modulewski as we look at Huff 70 in white. And Tom Moore gets the necessary yardage for a Green Bay Packer first down. So for Green Bay, with 27 seconds left in the first half, they have a first down at their own 47. And they have a 21-0 lead. Ken Iman of Southeast Missouri in St. Louis comes into the ball game. Now he is waved off the field, coming to the near sideline. There you see Iman, 2-year man. The Packer offensive team up front have the great blockers, the great size, which includes Norm Masters at 250. There you see Moore, 25, Starr, 15. Little taping going on the left hand of Moore. Moore is a definite threat, and much to the worry of the opposing coaches throughout the year, was the Packer #1 draft choice in 1960, and as a rookie led the National Football League in kickoff returns. You know he has speed. He hails from Madison, Tennessee, and he is trying to fill the big shoes of Jim Taylor, who's on the sideline right now. It is Moore and Hornung the setbacks. The Packers with a 1st and 10 from their own 47, about 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Starr, getting plenty of time, completes to Ron Kramer. A powerful run. And look at him line up quickly now with the ball on the New York Giants. 15-yard line. Starr throws out in the flat. Let's see what George Rennick's the referee now, talking to Andy Robustelli, as the Packers send in what appears to be their kicking team with only 2 seconds on the clock unofficially, but a marker is down on the field, and Rennick's number 52 is stepping off yardage against New York. Offside on that quick count play, and Paul Hornung now can up the count by 3 points, as he will try a field goal from 17 yards away, and on the clock it says only 2 seconds left in the first half. Bart Starr will hold. An angle from the far side to the near side. Here's the kick. It is up. There you see co-captain Andy Robustelli of the New York Giants talking with the referee George Rennick. The gun has sounded here at Green Bay City Stadium. That's the end of the first half with the score Green Bay 24 and New York nothing.
Yes, sirree. As you like it, so do we. The happiest sound, good friends agree, is Mabel. Just about everybody far and near takes a friendly call you hear. The most refreshing note of cheer is Mabel. How the good word gets around, now most everyone has found. It's the most inviting sound of all. Mabel, as you like it, yes, sirree. The best of all good friends agree as they whistle cheerfully. Mabel, Carling, Black Label Beer.
In just a moment, we'll pause for station identification, after which Curly Morrison and I will return with some highlights. We pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
Well, Curly Morrison, all I can say is it's hard to believe. I can understand the Green Bay Packers being on top, but it's hard to believe they could be in front 24-0, particularly when you understand that Jim Taylor is limping and frankly no use out there today.
Hal, I agree with you. Even sitting here watching this game, it's hard to believe that the score is 24-0 because here are two really fine football teams. The only thing that I can say is that Green Bay is just doing the job a little more thoroughly, and they're really handling the defensive line for the most part of the Giants, which is certainly a terrific task in itself.
Well, anything you wanted to say about Green Bay would be true, and just about anything against the Giants would be true at this point. The Green Bay timing is perfect, and I noticed on all those pass plays, the Giants, the ball just seems to be a foot out of reach or a foot low or a foot high. Everything's off.
Well, they're getting a terrific rush by the Green Bay defensive line, and one of the things that I think is really keynoting this game is the fact that Paul Hornung, for the first time in 5 or 6 weeks, and Ray Nitschke and Boyd Dowler have been with the Packers to work the last 6 days. Hornung, you can certainly tell from games we saw previously where he was gone during the week in the service. He's had this whole week to brush up on his timing and execution of plays, and it certainly stood out here in this first half.
Of course, I imagine a couple of interceptions like Green Bay pulled off against the Giants just as they tried to get something rolling. This must take the heart out of a football club.
Well, it does, and the amazing thing about that interception of Ray Nitschke's, which set up a score for Green Bay, was the fact that as the play started, he was head-on the offensive center of the Giants, and yet seconds, almost an instant, he was back 15 yards to pick off that pass, and that shows you how quick these big defensive linemen and linebackers can react to a situation.
Well, Curly, I know that Coach Allie Sherman of the Giants is a pretty good talker, but what does he say at halftime now, trailing 24-0?
Well, the only thing he can say now is that, fellas, we spent this whole season preparing for this game, and let's start executing a little bit.
Well, Curly, I know you've got some film shots here you want to explain to us. The first one, I believe, shows the great work of Paul Hornung, who is the outstanding offensive.
His run for a touchdown. It also shows the outstanding work of Kramer and Masters in their offensive line, carving the way, and a fine job of blocking by Jim Taylor. Let's take a look at that first here on the chart. This is the first touchdown of Green Bay. This is number 5, Paul Hornung right here, and this is Jim Taylor, the offensive fullback, and they're in a split position down here in the goal line. We've got the Giants' goal line defense really stacked in here. And the key block was done by Norm Masters, this offensive tackle, and Ron Kramer, number 88, the offensive end. When we look at it on videotape, you'll see the fine job that these two fellows do on Cap Cabbage, taking him down the line. The rest of these men are all checking back. That's automatic. Here Jim Taylor takes Livingston, 89, the linebacker, out. And he really does a nice job, and you'll see it. Out here, Boyd Dowler does a fine job in keeping Eric Barnes and the safety man back from coming up to make a quick tackle. He goes down as if he's an intended receiver and starts them back, and then, of course, he cuts in order to screen either one of them off, but that was never necessary because of the time he had started them back, Hornung was in the end zone. Let's take a look at it on videotape, and I think you'll see what I mean about the nice job that Kramer and Taylor and company do in blocking here for Paul Hornung. At the top of the screen to the right, you see number 88 and then number 76 on Green Bay, Norm Masters, the offensive end and tackle. Now watch them take Cabbage down the line, and watch Taylor right there knock Livingston back. And there you see the score. And that's typical of the type doing up front, and of course Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor do for each other in their running game, and that's the secret.
Yeah, we've seen this happen practically all year long, where Hornung has been used as a blocker for Taylor, but this is one of the few times where it's been a reverse picture, isn't it?
That's right, and it's certainly evident that Jim Taylor is not up to his usual running form, so the Packers have had to reverse the situation a little bit, and fortunately they got two good fellows back there that can do that kind of job and help one another out.
You can tell he's not up to form because Taylor carried the ball once there in the second quarter, and Jimmy Patton came in on him over on the sidelines, and he knocked him just about 8 feet right across the sideline. Now, ordinarily, Taylor would have flattened Patton.
Well, that's right. You can tell that Jim Taylor is pretty well bound and taped up, and they're doing that, of course, to protect those kidneys. They've probably got a lot of sponge rubber around this rib cage area to protect the kidneys, and he's pretty well taped in, and that's the reason he's limited in motion to some extent.
Now, later on in the quarter, we had a couple of pass plays, and one thing I want to point out, they were in around the 40-yard line and then in around the 20-yard line, and we were wondering whether they would have to kick the field goal. And you were pointing out that they'll try to keep the ball in the center here, and they're working pass plays.
That's right. There was a 3rd and 10 situation for Green Bay just before their second touchdown. They were about the 34 or 35-yard line of New York, Hal, and I did make a comment that in this particular instance, they're going to have to stay in position for a field goal in the event they can't pick up the first down. And what they really did, they threw just a quick little look-in pass to Ron Kramer so that he would take the ball right over the middle, and he probably had instructions, I'm sure, on this one. If you catch the ball, don't keep on going across the field for the sidelines. Turn and go straight up the middle and try to stay in the middle of the goalpost, because if we don't make first down and have to kick a field goal, we want to be in a good position for an angle. And I'll show you here on the diagram what I mean by that, Hal, and we can look on videotape in a moment. Here was the offensive formation with Horning and Taylor going this way. In other words, holding Huff and these fellows right here, making them play the play. For example, the good little quick toss that they run off into Taylor with Horning leading has been a very effective play all season. So Huff is keying on Taylor, and he starts this way. Now Kramer, really all he does is take a step across the line of scrimmage and look in, and there's no delay or dropping back to pass this one. Starr takes the ball. He doesn't even make any fake at all. He just raises up and throws quickly, and of course Dowler out here once again keeps Livingston and this halfback and this safety man. They have to keep their eyes on him because of his ability downfield. And all it is just one step back by the quarterback, and he fires the quick look into Kramer. And let's take a look at it, because he does a beautiful job of keeping the ball in the middle of the field in the event that he doesn't make the complete 10 yards for a first down. Here we see the good close look at Andy Robustelli and Tom Scott there of the New York Giants. There's Rosie Greer, all 290 pounds, Dick Modzelewski and Cat Cabbage and Cliff Livingston. Now Kramer is the end at the top of your screen, number 88. Here's Horning and Taylor deep back. They start this way. He steps back and just a quick look into Kramer. And you'll notice he didn't keep coming on across the field. He turned and went right straight up the field towards the goalpost, so that if he hadn't picked up 10 yards for the first down, they were in a position to kick the field goal. This was the key play, and it certainly kept their drive alive, and they did make the first down. A few plays later, they're down about the old 14-yard line, and they throw the X in to Boyd Dowler for a touchdown.
We're going to have a look at that one, too?
We're going to take a look at that one, too, in a minute. But that is really good football, and that's what you call really doing what you want to do and handling like you own them when you can run a play like that and do it that well.
I noticed, as you pointed out, that Taylor and Horning, when they came left, Sam Huff would ordinarily be the man who would intercept that pass.
That's right, but
took him
he had trailed over, in other words, following the play, expecting that little quick toss to Taylor in the flat.
I noticed during the second quarter, too, I think Huff is getting a little annoyed. Some of those pileups there, he's looked as if he'd like to belt somebody, and he's just holding back because he knows he'd get thrown out.
And these kind of games, the championship game, as you know, it's a matter of pride, and more so today, they want to prove who's boss, and it can be a little frustrating when you're on the short end of the score. Now, this next play, Hal, was the one that went for the touchdown. It was the X-in to Dowler, who has been playing that wide flanking back all season. And I'd like to explain this play because this thing really opens up beautifully. We'll take a look at it on the chart. Here's Dowler out here who caught the touchdown pass, number 86. He's about 6'5", weighs about 230 pounds, and has a great pair of hands and good speed for a big man. Now this is what we call a flare-type pass, where we send out 5 receivers. Both Horning and Taylor are swinging out on this pass, and they immediately take these corner linebackers out with them when they do that. That's the first reaction because nobody else is here to cover them. These fellows have got to come out with them. Now Dowler starts down the field straight at Eric Barnes and takes him back, and when he starts to move back, then he makes his break because he knows by this time that Kramer has also started down the field towards the safety man here, and taking him back, and then it'll come clear for him coming across the middle, and that's exactly what happened. The linebackers are occupied by the swing men, so they take the pressure off of Dowler here. This linebacker, in other words, is not going to be able to ride him in. The same thing would be true over here had that been the point of attack, because Scott, the linebacker over here, would have had to come off with Horning. Therefore, McGee would have had some freedom going down the field. The fact that McGee is a good key receiver also holds this safety man over here. He can't come over and help out on the cross until the ball is in the air, and then, of course, it's too late. So let's take a look at it on videotape and see how well it opened up. It's a third down situation again with about 10 yards to go on the 18-yard line. Now you see both backs swinging out of the backfield, and there you see Dowler coming in on the cross, taking the ball and right straight into the end zone. And there again, that's one of those situations where you call them and execute them just like you own them. And of course, one thing against the Giants today, they are getting a little home cooking from the Green Bay local fans.
When you're winning 24-0, all those plays execute beautifully, don't
Well,
they?
I'll say they do.
Curly, you've played in a couple of championship games with the Cleveland Browns. You won 2 National Football League titles, and I know you were a regular halfback at the time. I'm wondering just how you fellas feel, say, during the week coming up to the game and the night before the game. Can you tell me?
Well, Hal, the week before a championship game is a feverish week. I must tell you that as far as the ball club is concerned, you have to prepare just like any other ball game. You don't change your routine that you've been going on week after week, month after month. Your preparation for the game and everything is exactly the same. You put in special game plans. But the last 2 or 3 nights before a championship game, you'll find it pretty hard to get a good solid night's sleep. You're restless, and there's just a lot of things building and keying up on your mind. And actually the last couple of days, the ball players are living on nervous energy. And they can almost expend themselves before they get in the ball game, but they have that little extra thing that keeps them going. It's the big letdown afterwards that really takes it out of you.
All right, Curly. In just a moment, we'll go back to Green Bay for some halftime activities. The first half of the World of Sport, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited, brewers of Carling Red Cap Ale.
The second half of today's game between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers is brought to you by Ford of Canada, on behalf of your Ford dealer who sells and services the 1962 Galaxy, Fairlane, and Falcon. And by Cameo, the filter cigarette with just a touch of menthol.
Curly, I see we have a little more time, and I'm delighted because I want to continue with this talk about how you feel before a game. Now, what final games did you play? And you were with Cleveland. Who'd you play?
Well, in the 2 championship games that I played with Cleveland, in 1954, we played against Detroit, and we beat them 56-10. And in 1955, in the World Championship game against the Rams in Los Angeles, we won 38-14.
Well, let's talk about that Los Angeles one. Now, can you remember, the game was played on a Sunday, was it?
It was, and it was the largest crowd that has ever witnessed a National League Championship game. There were over 85,000 in the Los Angeles Coliseum.
Well, now, let's reminisce a bit here. What did you do on Saturday night before the game?
Well, we have a regular routine with the Browns, Hal. We all eat together around 6:30, and then we always go to a movie together in mass, in a group, and we usually get a choice, and we vote and decide which local movie and the nearest theater we can see. And I've forgotten the one we saw. I'm sure I couldn't remember anything about it, but that was our routine, and back to the hotel and in bed around 10:30, and it's a pretty restless night because you're playing the game hours before it starts.
All right, I think it's time, Curly, to go back to City Stadium in Green Bay, where we'll see some halftime activities right after this message.
Now here's a commercial with a twist, the Falcon twist.
You're going to get a new Falcon?
A 62 Falcon.
Everybody loves Falcon, so listen, Malcolm. Pick me up in your Falcon. I'll be ready at 8.
I'll be there with my Falcon. We'll have a wonderful ride.
And I'll be right at your side.
Economical Falcon. Costs so little to run.
With the money we save with a Falcon, we can sure have a barrel of fun.
Everybody loves Falcon.
Lots of reason to boast.
'Cause you get more from a Falcon.
The car America loves the most. It's America's favorite, so economical, low-price compact car. Oh, Malcolm.
Go
to your Ford dealer. You'll be welcome, Malcolm.
Now the Lake Band with Bewitched in the Paso del Play arrangement. We'll be set for the second half kickoff in just a moment.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo. Refreshingly different.
With Cameo, you get only the coolness of menthol. You taste only the natural flavor of fine, fully matured tobacco. Refreshing, like an igloo on a warm August day. Try a pack of Cameo soon. They're filter-tipped, king size.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo.